At the beginning of the drama, we are introduced to the cute female lead, Miran, whose biggest dream is to become a famous fashion designer one day. However, there's one small problem. She's extremely lazy. Most of the time, instead of paying attention in class, she simply sleeps. Even today, she was dreaming about becoming a world-famous designer while sleeping in the classroom. But suddenly, her dream was interrupted and she accidentally stood up. Seeing this, the teacher said, "Since you've already stood up on your own, why don't you answer this question?" Miran immediately panicked because she had no idea what the teacher had been teaching. She had been sleeping through the entire lecture. With no other choice, she quietly asked her friend what the question was. Her friend whispered that it was a math question. Hearing that, Miran nervously replied that math was way too difficult for her. Just then, a handsome young man walked into the classroom. This is the main male lead of our story, Zhongwei Chan, who had just transferred to this college. The moment Miran saw him, she quickly hid underneath her desk. But why would she react like that? Well, you'll find out very soon. Since Zhongwei had arrived late, the teacher asked why he was late before telling him to take his seat. After that, the teacher started looking for Miran and wondered where she had disappeared to. The moment Zhongwei heard Miran's name, he suddenly froze because he already knew her. The teacher called her again, forcing Miran to come out while wearing a cap to hide herself. The teacher immediately told her to remove the cap. As soon as she did, the teacher reminded her that she was supposed to answer the math question. After that, the class finally came to an end. Now we see Miran walking out of the classroom, but Zhongwei immediately starts following her. Miran asks why he's following her everywhere. Zhongwei calmly reminds her that they broke up 2 years and 6 months ago. But even after all this time, he still doesn't know the real reason behind their breakup. He asks her to finally tell him why she suddenly ended their relationship. It turns out the two of them were once in a relationship. That's exactly why Miran hid under the desk the moment she saw him in class. Meanwhile, Miran tries to escape, but a tree blocks her path. Every time she attempts to run away, Zhongwei steps even closer to her. In the end, Miran makes up an excuse and somehow manages to escape before running straight back to her dormitory. When her roommates see her rushing inside while completely out of breath, they ask why she's in such a hurry and jokingly wonder if she's going to meet her boyfriend. Miran immediately denies it, saying she doesn't even have a boyfriend and has been completely single. On the other hand, Zhongwei arrives at his own dormitory. His roommate asks if he knows Miran because he saw them talking earlier. Zhongwei says that he does and asks if his roommate knows her as well. The roommate replies that he's known Miran ever since high school. Zhongwei then asks the question he really wanted answered, whether Miran is single. His roommate confidently replies that she's been single ever since high school. Hearing this instantly makes Zhongwei furious. He angrily throws his bag because he knows that statement can't possibly be true. Then we see Miran eating with her friends in the cafeteria. But the moment she notices Zhongwei walking in, she immediately runs away once again. Later that night, Miran is returning to the dormitory with one of her friends when Zhongwei suddenly appears again. As always, Miran tries to run away, but this time, Zhongwei catches her. He asks how much longer she's going to keep avoiding him because sooner or later she has to explain why she broke up with him. However, instead of answering, Miran simply hands him an envelope before escaping once again. In the next scene, one of Miran's roommates gives her an invitation card that was addressed to her. Seeing it, Miran becomes incredibly excited because she believes she's finally been invited by the famous hang group, something she has dreamed about for a very long time. But her happiness doesn't last long because she soon discovers that the invitation is actually fake. Her heart is completely broken, yet she gathers her courage and decides that she'll still go there no matter what happens. After arriving at the hang group, the security guard fails to realize that her invitation is fake and allows her to enter. Meanwhile, Zhongwei also arrives there with his father because the company actually belongs to his family. However, instead of working in his father's company, Zhongwei wants to build his own business, so he rarely comes here. Just then, Zhongwei notices Miran inside the company. However, Miran still has no idea that Zhongwei's father is actually the owner of the hang group. Inside, Miran confidently explains every product and design in great detail, leaving everyone extremely impressed. They compliment her, saying she seems to know everything about the company. After everyone leaves, Miran secretly starts recording videos of the products, but from behind, Wei quietly records her instead, planning to use the video to blackmail her later. The next day, we see Miran sleeping in class once again. Seeing this, Wei sends her a friend request along with a message asking her to accept it. However, instead of responding, Miran simply ignores the request and goes right back to sleep. Later, Miran heads somewhere while trying her best to hide herself. First, she puts on a cap, then wears a face mask so Wei won't recognize her. But despite all her efforts, she still gets caught by him. Once again, Wei demands to know the real reason behind their breakup. This time, Miran makes up a fake story, but Wei immediately realizes she's lying. So he shows her the video he secretly recorded at the hang group and threatens that if she doesn't tell him the truth, he'll send the video to the hang group. Hearing this, Miran becomes nervous and quickly begs him not to do it. Then, trying to avoid answering the question once again, she hilariously says that she has already forgotten the real reason why they broke up. After hearing Miran's excuse, Wei tells her that he's willing to give her some time to think. However, until she tells him the real reason behind their breakup, she'll have to do everything he asks. Otherwise, he'll send the secret video to the hang group. After saying that, Wei simply walks away, leaving Miran completely helpless. The next day, Miran is once again sleeping peacefully in class when she suddenly receives a message from Wei telling her to bring him a bottle of water immediately. She gets annoyed after reading it, but since Wei is still blackmailing her with the video, she has no choice but to obey. She asks the teacher for permission to go to the restroom, and the teacher lets her leave the classroom. After class, Wei continues treating Miran like his personal assistant. He even makes her repair his bicycle. Later, while walking outside, he notices someone eating snacks on the street and immediately orders Miran to buy the same food for him. Although she is furious, she can't complain because of the video. Meanwhile, Miran notices one of Wei's campaign posters and jokingly asks him not to tell her he's planning to participate in the campus election. Wei smiles and says that she guessed correctly. Then he casually informs her that she'll be helping him with his election campaign as well. Before leaving, he orders her to bring all the food he requested within 5 minutes. In the next scene, we see several students playing basketball. While everyone is distracted, Miran secretly sneaks into the boys' area, hoping to steal Wei's phone and finally delete the blackmail video. She searches everywhere but can't find his phone. Just then, Wei sends her another message telling her to bring him water after the game. Miran immediately realizes that his phone must still be inside the basketball court, so she grabs a bottle of water and heads toward the court, where she notices Wei's bag lying nearby. Thinking his phone is inside, she covers her face, quietly takes the phone out of the bag, and quickly walks away. She tries unlocking the phone several times but fails every time. Then she suddenly enters her own birthday as the password, and to her surprise, the phone unlocks instantly. While checking the gallery, she finds a video of Wei saying that he has hidden something for her in the garden, and that she should come and collect it. But before she can continue searching, Wei suddenly snatches the phone from her hands. He asks if she came to delete the video. Then he confidently tells her that she'll never find it because he has already hidden it in a secret place. Curious, Miran asks why his phone's password is her birthday. Wei awkwardly makes up an excuse, saying it's simply easy for him to remember, so he never bothered changing it. Just then, another girl walks over to give Wei some water. However, Wei politely refuses to accept it. Seeing this reminds Miran of their high school days because back then, Wei would only drink the water she gave him and would refuse water from anyone else. Now we see Miran returning to her dormitory. Soon afterward, Wei sends her another message asking her to meet him in the garden that evening. Wei patiently waits for her in the garden, and when Miran finally arrives, he asks her to sit down. However, she refuses and tells him to get straight to the point. Wei then reveals that he needs a portrait sketch of himself for his election poster and orders Miran to draw it. Miran reluctantly sits down and begins sketching him. While she's drawing, Wei can't take his eyes off her. Looking at her brings back memories of their relationship in high school. Back then, Miran used to sit in front of him just like this while drawing his portrait. Wei even remembers noticing something in her hair and reaching over to remove it, bringing the two of them incredibly close. Thinking about those precious memories makes him smile without even realizing it. After finishing the sketch, Miran proudly shows it to him. But instead of appreciating her work, Wei starts pointing out one flaw after another and asks her to draw it again. Frustrated, Miran asks what exactly is wrong with him because she's not going to draw another sketch. However, Wei immediately brings up the blackmail video again. Left with no choice, Miran becomes so angry that she deliberately draws him like a terrifying villain. As she starts walking away, Zhang Wei stops her and unexpectedly says that he never knew she was such a talented artist. He asks her to draw him a proper portrait this time. Miran immediately makes a deal. She says she'll do it only if he deletes the video. Zhang Wei agrees, but only after she finishes drawing the poster for him. After saying that, Zhang Wei picks up a nearby cat and walks away. Before leaving, he turns around and looks back at Miran with an innocent smile. Seeing that expression makes Miran's heart race. At that moment, she realizes that she still has feelings for him. However, she quickly controls herself and returns to the dormitory to finish his campaign poster. The next day is the deadline for submitting the posters. Miran goes to submit Zhang Wei's artwork. From inside the classroom, Zhang Wei notices her and can't help smiling. The teacher sees him smiling and asks what's making him so happy. Zhang Wei casually replies that he has already finished his work and asks for permission to leave. Then he immediately heads over to see the completed poster. As soon as Zhang Wei sees it, he loves the design so much that he even takes a picture of it. Meanwhile, after carrying the large poster around all day, Miran becomes exhausted and sits down in the garden to rest. A few moments later, Zhang Wei sits beside her. Miran reminds him that she has completed everything he asked for, so it's finally time to delete the video. However, Zhang Wei shamelessly refuses. Instead, he tells her that he'll delete it only if he wins the campus election, leaving poor Miran feeling completely tricked once again. The following day, Miran stands outside the college asking every girl she meets to vote for Zhang Wei in the election. Surprisingly, Zhang Wei even wears the same costume as Miran and joins her while asking students for votes. Miran tells him that he actually looks very cute in that outfit. However, Zhang Wei's classmates can't stop laughing after seeing him dressed like that. The moment Miran glares at them with an angry expression, they immediately fall silent. On the other hand, the class monitor Gao notices a girl wearing a costume and starts gossiping. He says that he heard Sue never lets anyone even touch her hair because she's supposedly very bold. Hearing that rumor, Sue immediately unties her hair, angrily asks him to repeat what he just said, and then kicks him in the leg before storming away. Meanwhile, several of Zhang Wei's female fans gather around him and ask if they can take pictures with him. Miran happily agrees on his behalf and sends Zhang Wei over to them. She even helps by taking photos for all of them herself. Even after all that, there still aren't many girls surrounding Zhang Wei, and the campus election campaign continues. Meanwhile, another boy nearby starts showing off his muscular body to attract attention. Almost all the girls immediately rush over to him. Seeing this, Miran teases Zhang Wei and says, "Look at him. That's how you impress girls. You're not even trying." Hearing that, Zhang Wei suddenly starts dancing right in front of everyone. His unexpected performance immediately grabs everyone's attention, and all the girls come running back to him. Watching Zhang Wei dance reminds Miran of one of their memories from high school. Back then, they were playing a game of truth or dare. After Zhang Wei chose dare, Miran asked him when he first noticed her. Zhang Wei smiled and told her that the very first time he saw her, she was still a little girl. She had bravely saved him from a group of bullies in the park, and that was the moment he first noticed her. Now we return to the present. After winning the campus election, Zhang Wei sends Miran a message asking if she isn't even going to congratulate him with a bouquet of flowers. Miran reads the message but deliberately ignores it. The next day, Zhang Wei is giving his victory speech. One by one, students come forward to congratulate him with flowers. Surprisingly, this entire plan was actually Miran's idea, because she had asked everyone to bring bouquets for him. Miran also arrives carrying a bouquet. However, instead of giving it to Zhang Wei herself, she hands it to another girl and quietly walks away. A few moments later, Zhang Wei suddenly collapses. He is immediately rushed to the hospital. After regaining consciousness, his friends ask why he never told them that he was severely allergic to flowers. They also reveal that Miran was the one who encouraged everyone to bring bouquets for him. Hearing this makes Zhang Wei extremely angry. Meanwhile, Miran comes to the hospital to apologize because she feels responsible for what happened. However, before entering his room, she overhears Gao and Zhang Wei's roommate talking. They mention that Zhang Wei is furious with Miran. Hearing this scares her so much that she leaves the hospital without meeting him. The following morning, Zhang Wei goes to see Miran himself. He calmly tells her that from now on, she doesn't have to follow his orders anymore because he has already deleted the video. He also promises that he'll never bother her again before quietly walking away. However, seeing Zhang Wei leave like that doesn't make Miran happy at all. That night, she sits alone looking through all the sketches she had drawn of Zhang Wei. Then she remembers the campaign poster she made for him. Since the election is already over, she realizes the poster is no longer useful. Without wasting any time, Miran rushes to the storage room, finds the poster, and brings it back to her dormitory. She carefully places it in her room and quietly wonders why she still keeps thinking about Jong Wei, even though he already deleted the video. Just then, her roommate Sue notices the poster and asks why she brought it back. Miran quickly makes up an excuse, saying it was her first project, so she wanted to keep it. Then she asks Sue a strange question. She says, "If someone leaves you and later you meet that person again, but you just can't stop thinking about them, what does that mean?" Sue immediately smiles and replies, "It means you still like that person." At that moment, Miran receives an email. She excitedly discovers that the Hang group has invited her for an interview. She becomes overjoyed because this opportunity has always been her dream. However, her excitement quickly turns into nervousness after she learns that she must present her own original designs during the interview. So, Miran immediately starts working on new designs. Unfortunately, because she's still inexperienced, nobody is willing to work with her. On the other hand, Jong Wei is discussing an important business deal with his manager when he suddenly notices Miran outside. He immediately tells his manager to leave first because he'll come later, and then he quietly follows Miran. After a while, Miran notices Jong Wei behind her. The moment she sees him, she suddenly becomes emotional, and tears begin filling her eyes. Jong Wei gently asks her what happened, but Miran remains silent. Instead, Jong Wei takes her to a nearby restaurant. Feeling completely discouraged, Miran drinks far more than she should. While holding her notebook, she sadly shows Jong Wei all of her designs and asks if they're really that bad. She wonders why nobody wants to work with her. Jong Wei carefully looks through every sketch before telling her that her designs are incredibly unique and beautiful. He even says he's never seen anything like them before. Hearing those sincere words instantly cheers Miran up. Since Miran is now completely drunk, Jong Wei realizes he can't take her back to the dormitory. Instead, he brings her to a hotel room and gently helps her lie down on the bed. As Jong Wei turns around to leave, Miran suddenly grabs his hand and pulls him closer. The two end up only inches away from each other. Jong Wei slowly leans in, about to kiss her. But just then, someone outside knocks on the door and asks if they're already asleep. Jong Wei replies that they aren't. A few seconds later, he tries leaning in again, but the same person interrupts them once more. This time, Jong Wei gets annoyed and tells the person not to disturb them anymore because they're going to sleep. The next morning, Miran wakes up and is shocked to find Jong Wei sleeping beside her. Then she remembers everything that happened the previous night, including the fact that she was the one who kissed Jong Wei first while they were at the hotel. Embarrassed beyond words, Miran quietly tries to escape. However, Jong Wei suddenly pulls her back into his arms and continues hugging her while pretending to sleep. This makes Miran's heart beat faster than ever. Later, Jong Wei takes Miran to meet a professional designer who can help her complete her fashion project. Seeing how much effort Jong Wei is putting in to support her makes Miran incredibly happy. The next morning, Miran is running toward class because she's already very late. Just then, Jong Wei rides up beside her on his bicycle. Miran tells him that they're both going to be late and asks him to hurry to class instead of waiting for her. Jong Wei offers to give her a ride, but when Miran is about to sit down, she realizes the bicycle doesn't even have a back seat. Jong Wei becomes slightly embarrassed. Smiling, Miran tells him not to worry and says she'll simply run to class by herself. After Jong Wei leaves, Miran finally reaches the classroom, only to find the professor scolding several students for arriving late. At that very moment, Jong Wei walks over to the professor and deliberately starts asking questions, distracting him from the late students. While the professor's attention is elsewhere, Jong Wei secretly signals Miran to slip into the classroom. Miran quietly enters without being noticed. Once she's safely inside, Jong Wei tells the professor that he now understands everything and calmly returns to his seat. After class, Miran thanks Jong Wei for helping her sneak into the classroom. However, once the lecture ends, two girls begin gossiping about her. They openly call her a thief. Hearing this, Sue steps in and tells them that if they have something to say, they should say it to Miran's face instead of talking behind her back. One of the girls replies that Sue doesn't know the truth because there's actually a thief living in their dormitory. She says that Sihu herself told everyone that Miran had stolen something. Sue immediately turns to Sihu and asks if that's true. Sihu admits that she was the one who spread the rumor because According to her, Miran really did steal. Miran quietly lowers her head. She remembers borrowing Sihu's sanitary pad without asking first. She assumes that's why Sihu is accusing her of stealing. Seeing Miran remain silent, the other girls become convinced that the accusation must be true. Their words deeply hurt Miran, and she quietly walks away. Just then, Zhang Wei stops her and tells her to explain the truth because she didn't actually steal anything. But Miran angrily pulls her hand away and tells him not to interfere before returning to the dormitory. Later, after Sihu arrives, Miran sincerely apologizes. She explains that she did use one of Sihu's pads without asking because it was an emergency. She also says that she tried to buy a new one to replace it, but unfortunately she lost it before she could give it back. Sihu is still upset and says she has no reason to believe her. However, Su steps in and defends Miran. She explains that Miran is telling the truth because Gao had actually given her the missing package earlier. Su immediately asks Gao to return it. Gao awkwardly admits that he already threw it away. Su tells him that's fine, but since he threw it away, he'll have to buy a new one himself. Gao offers to simply give her the money instead, but Su refuses because she wants the actual item. With no other choice, Gao secretly goes to the store and buys another package. However, when Su opens it, she discovers that instead of sanitary pads, Gao accidentally bought a pack of condoms. Furious, she immediately throws the package back at him and says she knew he would do something like this. Poor Gao turns bright red with embarrassment and quickly explains that he had no idea what was inside the package. He hurriedly stuffs it into his pocket before anyone else notices. In the next scene, Miran finally gives Sihu a new package of pads. Sihu realizes she misunderstood everything, apologizes, and the misunderstanding between them is finally resolved. The following day, Zhang Wei has an important basketball match. After the game, several girls gather around him and offer him bottles of water. Just then, Miran walks over carrying an extra-large bottle of water and hands it to Zhang Wei. Smiling, she tells him that if he gets thirsty again, he should ask her any time before walking away. Zhang Wei can't help laughing at her adorable behavior. The other girls ask if he still needs more water, but Zhang Wei proudly holds up Miran's huge bottle and replies, "Do you really think I need another one?" Hearing that, the girls leave with disappointed expressions. Later, Zhang Wei returns to his dormitory carrying the bottle like a precious treasure. He even hugs it and proudly shows it off to everyone, making it obvious how happy Miran's small gesture made him. The next day, Miran notices that Zhang Wei is absent from class. She asks his roommate Xiao why he didn't come. Xiao jokingly says that Zhang Wei is sick because he's been sitting in his room hugging that giant water bottle all day. He even refuses to let anyone touch it. Hearing this makes Miran blush with embarrassment. Xiao then smiles and asks why she's suddenly so interested in Zhang Wei. Miran quickly denies it, saying she was just asking casually. Meanwhile, Zhang Wei goes to meet a woman who turns out to be his stepmother. He asks her to invest in his new business. She asks why she should invest when he could simply work at his father's company instead. Zhang Wei jokingly flatters her, saying that everyone already knows he isn't very close to his father. His stepmother then asks how close he is to her. Without hesitation, Zhang Wei replies that she's even more special to him than his own mother. His sweet words immediately convince her, and she agrees to support his business. The next day is the final basketball match. Miran and Su are performing as cheerleaders to support the team. While all the girls are changing into their cheerleading outfits, Miran struggles to zip up the back of her dress. As she steps outside looking for help, she runs into Zhang Wei. When he asks what's wrong, Miran shyly explains that she can't zip up her dress. Zhang Wei quietly helps her before she joins the other girls on the court. Throughout the game, every single time Zhang Wei scores a basket, Miran cheers louder than anyone else. Her excitement is so obvious that Xiao notices it, although he can't understand why she's so happy every time Zhang Wei scores. After the match, Miran walks outside and sees Zhang Wei talking to another woman. In reality, the woman is Zhang Wei's stepmother. However, Miran doesn't know that. Seeing them together immediately makes her jealous. She returns to the dormitory in anger and throws Zhang Wei's campaign poster into the trash. From that day onward, Miran starts avoiding Zhang Wei completely. Whenever Zhang Wei tries to help her, she refuses. Even in class, when Zhang Wei tries to tell her what topics will be on the upcoming test, Miran ignores him and walks away without saying a word. Zhang Wei becomes completely confused and wonders why she's suddenly angry with him again. Later, after returning to his room, Xiao asks Zhang Wei about the woman he was with the other day. He asks if she's his girlfriend because everyone in class has been talking about it. The moment Zhang Wei hears that rumor, he immediately realizes why Miran has been avoiding him. In the next scene, all of their friends gather at a club for a party. As soon as Miran arrives, she sits beside Xiao. Seeing this, Zhongwei immediately makes Xiao switch seats and sits beside Miran instead. However, Miran gets up to leave. Zhongwei gently stops her, asks her to sit down, and finally asks if she's angry with him. Miran denies it. Zhongwei then explains that she's completely misunderstood the situation because the woman she saw wasn't his girlfriend at all. She was actually a member of his family. The moment Miran hears the truth, her mood instantly changes and she becomes happy again. After that, everyone enjoys the party together before heading home. While walking back, Zhongwei notices how cheerful Miran looks. Gathering his courage, he asks if she'd like to go on a date with him. Miran is surprised for a moment, but she happily says yes. Zhongwei smiles brightly, takes her hand, and they begin walking together. As they walk, Zhongwei asks when she started liking him again. Miran honestly admits that she realized her feelings while drawing his portrait. That's when she understood she had never truly gotten over him. She even confesses that she secretly brought his campaign poster back to her dormitory so she could look at it every night before going to sleep. Hearing this makes Zhongwei incredibly happy. He tells her to give him the poster someday because he wants to keep it forever as a symbol of their love. The moment Miran hears that, she suddenly falls silent. That's because, in a fit of jealousy, she had already thrown the poster into the trash. Even so, she nervously tells him that she'll definitely give it to him later. The two continue walking together, happily chatting about everything they had missed over the past 2 years. The following day, Miran finally attends her interview at the Hang Group. She confidently presents all of her fashion designs, and the interviewers are genuinely impressed by her creativity. However, because she's still a student, they ultimately decide not to hire her. After being rejected, Miran quietly walks outside and sits alone, feeling completely disappointed. After being rejected by the interview panel, Miran is sitting outside feeling completely disappointed. Just then, a man named Yu approaches her. After looking through her designs, he tells her that they're actually very impressive. He then asks her a few questions about her work. It turns out that Yu is also one of the managers at the Hang Group. After Miran confidently answers all of his questions, Yu hands her his business card and tells her that she's been hired. Hearing this, Miran is overjoyed. Without wasting any time, she rushes to meet Zhongwei and happily shares the good news with him. Zhongwei is just as excited as she is, and the two spend some time celebrating together. The next day, Miran notices a couple on campus. Seeing them suddenly reminds her of the old video she found on Zhongwei's phone, where he had said that he left something for her under a tree. She immediately runs to the field and searches until she finally finds the exact tree. Digging beneath it, she discovers the small box that Zhongwei had hidden years ago. When she opens it, she finds several photos of herself and Zhongwei from their high school days. There is also a handwritten note on the back of one picture that says, "We'll always celebrate our anniversary together." Reading those words fills Miran's heart with happiness. She quietly writes a few more words beneath the note before carefully burying the box back in the same place. Later, Miran sees Zhongwei working at a construction site. Since she has no idea about his real background, she assumes he's struggling financially. Feeling sorry for him, she secretly gives him some money before leaving. Zhongwei is both surprised and touched by the gesture. Smiling, he even tells his manager that his girlfriend just gave him money to help him out. His manager laughs and asks whether Miran still doesn't know that he's actually rich. Zhongwei simply smiles and says there's no point in telling her right now. In the next scene, Miran disguises herself as a boy and secretly sneaks into the boys' dormitory. When she enters Zhongwei's room, she notices how messy it is and immediately starts cleaning everything. After finishing, she quietly leaves without anyone noticing. A little later, Gao and Xiao return to the room and are shocked to find it completely clean. They have no idea who cleaned it. From then on, Miran secretly comes every day to clean Zhongwei's room, and before long, Zhongwei begins to realize that someone has been taking care of it. One day, while Miran is cleaning the room, the dormitory management suddenly arrives for a surprise inspection. Panicking, Miran quickly climbs out through the window. Unfortunately, several students spot her climbing out of the boys' dormitory. Everyone immediately starts teasing her, asking which boy she came to impress. Soon, a teacher also arrives and demands that Miran reveal the name of the boy she secretly came to meet. Feeling completely cornered, Miran blurts out Xiao's name. Even Xiao is stunned after hearing it and wonders why she dragged him into this situation. After climbing down, Miran walks over and stands beside Xiao instead of Zhongwei. Watching all of this makes Zhongwei incredibly jealous, but he remains silent. The teacher warns both of them that if anything like this happens again, they'll be expelled from college before finally leaving. Afterward, Xiao pulls pulls Miran aside and asks why she told everyone she came to see him when she's obviously in love with Zhongwei. Miran first apologizes sincerely, but a moment later she starts teasing Xiao about his height instead. Xiao immediately gets annoyed, while Miran can't help laughing. Later, when Miran returns to her dormitory, her friends excitedly ask if she's really dating Xiao. They jokingly ask if she couldn't find anyone better. Miran quickly admits that she lied. She tells them the truth, that she's actually dating Zhang Wei, and they've been together ever since high school. Her friends are completely shocked. Before they can ask anything else, Zhang Wei starts loudly calling Miran from outside the dormitory. Miran immediately rushes outside and asks why he's shouting her name so loudly, because everyone will find out they're dating. Zhang Wei smiles and says that's exactly what he wants. He wants everyone to know that Miran is his girlfriend. Since the weather is cold, Zhang Wei takes off his coat and gently puts it around Miran's shoulders. Then the two of them hold hands and begin walking together while chatting happily. Just then, Xiao suddenly appears in front of them. Embarrassed, Miran quickly lets go of Zhang Wei's hand. However, Zhang Wei immediately grabs her hand again and firmly tells Xiao that Miran is his girlfriend now, so he shouldn't even think about her anymore. Xiao laughs and says he has no interest in Zhang Wei's girlfriend. Instead, he tells Zhang Wei to stop hiding the relationship and announce it to everyone. Zhang Wei happily agrees. He hands his phone to Xiao and asks him to take plenty of pictures of the two of them, because he's planning to upload them and officially reveal their relationship. Xiao ends up taking several adorable photos of the couple together. In the next scene, Zhang Wei's stepmother arrives to pick him up. Their relationship is extremely close, almost like best friends. However, nobody at the college knows that Zhang Wei actually comes from an incredibly wealthy family. His stepmother hands him an expensive suit and jokingly tells him that he can only get into the car after changing into it. Like an obedient son, Zhang Wei changes into the suit and leaves with her. Meanwhile, Xiao secretly witnesses everything. Curious, he quietly follows them and even takes pictures of Zhang Wei meeting his stepmother and receiving money from her. The following day, Xiao shows all of those pictures to Miran. He tells her that Zhang Wei really is poor and claims that he's spending time with an older, wealthy woman just to get money. Miran feels terrible after hearing that. She immediately asks Xiao not to show those photos to anyone else. Unfortunately, she's already too late. Xiao has already uploaded the pictures online. Within no time, rumors about Zhang Wei spread across the entire campus. Later, while studying in the library, Miran overhears several girls gossiping about Zhang Wei. They claim that Zhang Wei only pretended to be rich and is actually poor. They even accuse him of earning money by spending time with wealthy women. Listening to those cruel rumors makes Miran furious. Unable to stay quiet any longer, she climbs onto a bench and loudly declares, "So what if Zhang Wei is poor? What does that have to do with any of you? I'm his girlfriend and I'll stand by him no matter what." After publicly defending Zhang Wei, everyone falls silent and simply stares at Miran in shock. No one expects her to openly admit that she's Zhang Wei's girlfriend in front of the entire class. Later, after class, Zhang Wei walks over to Miran and asks if she'd like to go on a date with him the next day. Miran jokingly asks whether he even has enough money to pay for a date. Zhang Wei confidently smiles and tells her not to worry because he'll take care of everything. The following day, the two officially go on their date. They spend the entire day eating delicious food, walking around together, visiting different places, and simply enjoying each other's company. That night, after their date ends, they accidentally miss the last bus home. Zhang Wei suggests calling a taxi, but Miran wants to save money and insists that they ride bicycles instead. At that moment, Zhang Wei finally decides to tell her the truth. He explains that he's actually not as poor as everyone thinks. His father is simply very strict with money, so he's always been taught to live modestly. Then he reveals an even bigger secret. The company where Miran now works actually belongs to his father. Hearing this leaves Miran completely stunned. She also gets a little angry because Zhang Wei kept such an important secret from her for so long. However, Zhang Wei patiently explains everything until she finally forgives him. Even after learning the truth, Miran still insists that they should ride bicycles home instead of taking a taxi. Zhang Wei happily agrees, and the two enjoy the peaceful ride home together. The next day, Miran tells Sue that Zhang Wei is actually from a wealthy family. Sue can't believe what she's hearing. She asks how Miran could forgive him so easily after he hid something so important from her. Miran asks what she was supposed to do instead. Sue confidently says that she should have ignored Zhang Wei for a while because, according to her, girls who forgive boys too quickly become less attractive to them. Hearing this advice, Mi-ran starts imagining a dramatic scene in her head where Zhang Wei leaves her forever while she desperately begs him not to go. Even though she cries and holds on to him, he still walks away. The imaginary scene scares her so much that she decides she'll ignore Zhang Wei for a few days so he'll love her even more. From that moment on, Mi-ran starts avoiding him. Later, when Zhang Wei comes to ask her for some water, she simply ignores him and walks away. Zhang Wei becomes completely confused and wonders what he did wrong this time. No matter where they meet, Mi-ran keeps acting cold toward him. Later, while they're eating together, Zhang Wei notices another couple nearby. The girl is feeding her boyfriend, so Zhang Wei happily opens his mouth and asks Mi-ran to feed him too. However, Mi-ran refuses. Even when Zhang Wei keeps texting her afterward, she deliberately ignores every message. This makes Zhang Wei extremely frustrated. Not knowing what to do, he asks Gao what it means when a girl suddenly starts ignoring her boyfriend. Gao immediately replies that it probably means she has found someone else. Hearing that answer completely terrifies Zhang Wei. He starts wondering if Mi-ran has already fallen for another man. The next day, Mi-ran goes to work, where her director harshly scolds her for not completing her work properly. The criticism leaves her feeling completely upset. Later, Zhang Wei comes to pick her up. While they're driving together, Zhang Wei keeps asking her one question after another. Already having a terrible day, Mi-ran suddenly loses her patience. She asks him if he can stay quiet for just a moment before bursting into tears. She explains that her director already yelled at her all day, and instead of comforting her, Zhang Wei keeps asking endless questions without realizing how she's feeling. Only then does Zhang Wei understand the situation. He immediately apologizes and says he never realized she was already upset. Mi-ran shakes her head and tells him that he doesn't need to apologize. Instead, she admits that she's the one who should be sorry because she's been ignoring him for days. She also confesses that Sue told her boys supposedly like girls more when they're ignored occasionally. But now she realizes that following such advice was a terrible idea. After saying that, Mi-ran gently kisses Zhang Wei on the cheek. That small kiss instantly brightens Zhang Wei's mood. At last, all the misunderstandings between them disappear and everything returns to normal. The following day, Zhang Wei introduces Mi-ran to his stepmother. Only then does Mi-ran finally realize that the woman she misunderstood before wasn't another girlfriend at all. She was actually Zhang Wei's stepmother, and the money Zhang Wei received always came from her. Fortunately, Zhang Wei's stepmother likes Mi-ran very much as well. Later, Zhang Wei walks Mi-ran back to her dormitory. Just as Mi-ran is about to go inside, Zhang Wei stops her because he wants to kiss her. However, before he gets the chance, the dormitory supervisor announces that visiting hours are over and everyone must return inside immediately. Mi-ran starts walking toward the entrance again. Zhang Wei tries one more time to stop her for a kiss, but just then, one of Mi-ran's roommates suddenly appears and quickly pulls her inside the dormitory. As a result, Zhang Wei completely misses his chance. In the next scene, the two of them go to watch a horror movie together. Zhang Wei secretly hopes that Mi-ran will get scared and hug him. Instead, Mi-ran watches the entire movie without being frightened at all. Seeing his plan fail, Zhang Wei pretends to be scared instead. He immediately hugs Mi-ran, making her comfort him. While she's trying to reassure him, Zhang Wei quietly feeds her a piece of popcorn. Then, taking advantage of the moment, he gently kisses her. This becomes the very first kiss they truly share as a couple. Unfortunately, their happiness doesn't last very long. Soon afterward, Zhang Wei receives an unexpected phone call from a girl. She asks where he is. Confused, Zhang Wei asks who she is. The girl introduces herself as Jia. She reminds him that he used to call her princess when they were children. She also says they first met at a playground, where she was the one who saved him from a group of bullies. This completely changes what everyone believed until now. It turns out that the person who rescued Zhang Wei as a child wasn't Mi-ran at all. It was actually Jia. Jia continues by saying that after growing up, she even went to Zhang Wei's high school to look for him, but she couldn't find him there. Zhang Wei asks where she is now. Jia replies that she's already waiting outside his dormitory. Hearing this, Zhang Wei quickly puts on a mask and rushes outside to meet her before taking her somewhere else to talk privately. In the next scene, Zhang Wei comes to meet Mi-ran. The moment she sees him, Mi-ran happily hugs him and asks where he has been all day and whether he was busy with work. Zhang Wei simply replies that he was. After that, the two of them go out to eat together, but in the middle of their meal, Mi-ran suddenly receives a message on her phone. As soon as she reads it, the smile disappears from her face. She immediately recognizes the sender. In her heart, she realizes that Jia has returned, and she can't help feeling that this girl is about to become a serious problem in her relationship with Zhang Wei. Just then, Mi-ran remembers something from the past. We see a flashback to their high school days, where Jia walks into the classroom and secretly leaves a note on Zhongwei's desk. Before leaving, she tells Mi-ran that she wants to surprise him. It turns out that Jia was the real reason Mi-ran broke up with Zhongwei back in high school. Now we return to the present. Mi-ran is walking toward the restroom when she suddenly feels like someone is following her. Panicking, she quickly hides inside a restroom. However, a few seconds later, she realizes that she accidentally entered the boys' restroom. Embarrassed, she immediately walks back out. Just then, the girl who had been following her catches up and explains that she wasn't trying to scare her at all. She simply found Mi-ran's student ID card on the sports field and wanted to return it. Meanwhile, Zhongwei stops by a convenience store to buy a drink. While he's there, he overhears several students gossiping. They're spreading a ridiculous rumor that Mi-ran broke up with Zhongwei because he was supposedly a terrible kisser. Naturally, hearing such an embarrassing rumor makes Zhongwei extremely angry. After all, no guy would be happy hearing people gossip about something like that. On the other hand, when Mi-ran goes to eat, she notices everyone staring at her. She immediately walks over to Xiao and asks if he started another rumor about them. Xiao quickly denies it and insists he didn't do anything this time. Then Su jokingly asks whether it's actually true that Zhongwei can't kiss properly. Completely embarrassed, Mi-ran tells them to stop talking nonsense. Later, back in the classroom, Xiao tells Mi-ran that Zhongwei never returned to the dormitory the previous night. Mi-ran assumes he must have been busy with work. Just then, Zhongwei walks into the classroom. Xiao excitedly tells them about a famous legend. According to the story, if a couple watches the sunrise together at the national park, they'll stay together forever. He asks if the two of them are planning to go. Both Zhongwei and Mi-ran immediately refuse. However, as Zhongwei opens one of his books, 2 tickets for that very park suddenly fall onto the floor. Mi-ran notices them but pretends she didn't see anything. Zhongwei quickly picks them up and hides them. In the next scene, Mi-ran almost sends Zhongwei a message asking him to watch a movie together. However, she changes her mind because she assumes he's been very busy lately and doesn't want to bother him. The following day, 2 girls tell Mi-ran that they saw Zhongwei watching a movie with another girl. At first, they assumed that girl was Mi-ran, but after seeing Mi-ran on campus, they become confused and wonder who the mysterious girl really was. Hearing this completely ruins Mi-ran's mood. Meanwhile, Zhongwei is actually spending time with Jia. He tells her that they've already watched the sunrise together, gone to the movies together, and completed all 3 of her wishes. The truth is that Jia had made Zhongwei a promise. If he fulfilled her 3 final wishes, she'd leave his life forever and never bother him again. That's the only reason Zhongwei agreed to spend time with her. Jia then asks whether he enjoys being with her. Zhongwei honestly replies that all he wants is to properly say goodbye. Jia smiles sadly before asking for one final favor. She asks Zhongwei to buy her a banana milkshake. Zhongwei agrees and walks away to buy it. At that exact moment, an angry Mi-ran calls Zhongwei. However, Jia answers the phone instead. She calmly tells Mi-ran that Zhongwei has gone to buy a banana milkshake for her and says she'll ask him to call back once he returns. The moment Mi-ran hears Jia's voice, her heart completely shatters. In the next scene, everyone has already left the dormitory for vacation. Only Mi-ran remains behind because Zhongwei promised to come and pick her up. She waits for a long time before finally receiving a message from him, saying that he's waiting downstairs. Mi-ran grabs her luggage and goes outside. The moment she sees Zhongwei, she immediately confronts him. She asks why he's been spending all his time with Jia while lying to her that he was busy with work. Hearing Jia's name leaves Zhongwei speechless. His silence tells Mi-ran everything she needs to know. She becomes convinced that Zhongwei has been secretly meeting Jia behind her back. Heartbroken, Mi-ran tells him that she wants to break up. Then she finally reveals the truth she had hidden for years. She admits that the little girl who saved Zhongwei from those bullies wasn't actually her. It was Jia. Now that Zhongwei knows the truth, she believes that's exactly why he's been choosing Jia over her. With tears in her eyes, Mi-ran confesses that even after hearing Zhongwei talk about that childhood memory, she never had the courage to tell him the truth because she was terrified he would leave her if he found out. Sadly, she says that's exactly what's happening now. Since Jia has returned, she tells Zhongwei that he should simply date Jia openly instead of secretly meeting her behind Mi-ran's back. As she turns to leave, Zhongwei quickly grabs her hand. He desperately tells her her that if she breaks up with him again this time, he won't come back anymore. Mi-ran coldly replies that he doesn't have to. Then she walks away. The real situation is very different from what Mi-ran believes. Jia also has feelings for Zhang Wei and wants to be with him. However, Zhang Wei truly loves only Mi-ran. He had already rejected Jia. The only reason he spent time with her was because Jia promised that after Zhang Wei fulfilled her 3 final wishes, she'd disappear from his life forever and never interfere in their relationship again. Zhang Wei kept all of this a secret because he was afraid Mi-ran would misunderstand the situation. Unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. Even though everything he did was to protect their relationship, it still ended with another heartbreaking breakup. Zhang Wei is left just as devastated as Mi-ran. Meanwhile, after returning home, Mi-ran spends her days crying while remembering all the happy moments she shared with Zhang Wei. A few days later, one of her friends sends her a message asking her to come to a club. After Mi-ran arrives, her friend sadly reveals that she just went through a breakup and wants to drink to forget everything. Mi-ran quietly smiles through her tears and admits that she's going through the exact same thing. She tells them that she and Zhang Wei have broken up as well. Hearing this leaves all of her friends completely shocked. After that, the 3 best friends decide to drink as much as they want and spend the whole night together. Eventually, the summer vacation comes to an end and everyone returns to the hostel. The next day, when Mi-ran arrives in class, she is shocked to see that Jia has transferred to their college. Naturally, Mi-ran is furious. On the other hand, Chan is equally surprised because Jia had promised she would leave their lives forever. Chan immediately takes Jia outside and asks, "Didn't I tell you not to come here?" Jia explains that she transferred schools because her parents no longer want her to move back to America. Instead, she has decided to complete her graduation at this college. Chan firmly tells her, "Mi-ran is my girlfriend now, so don't ever try to come between us." After saying that, he walks away. In the next scene, Chan goes to meet Mi-ran and pleads, "Please don't end our relationship like this. You even blocked me everywhere, please add me back." However, Mi-ran coldly replies, "We've already broken up, so keep your distance." Hearing this, Chan becomes upset and says, "Fine, I'll keep my distance." Meanwhile, when Mi-ran goes to her company, her manager looks extremely disappointed. He doesn't like her latest designs at all and eventually fires her from the company. Heartbroken, Mi-ran leaves the office. While walking outside, all of her belongings accidentally fall onto the ground. Just then, a college student comes over to help her pick everything up. His name is Mang. After introducing himself, Mang looks through Mi-ran's design sketches and sincerely says that her work is actually very beautiful. On the other hand, Chan has been looking for Mi-ran everywhere. Eventually, he finds her sitting alone. Just then, Mang returns with an ice cream for Mi-ran. Seeing another guy taking care of Mi-ran makes Chan incredibly jealous. Feeling hurt, he quietly walks away. Mi-ran notices him leaving. However, she deliberately starts spending even more time with Mang just to make Chan jealous. She laughs with him, hangs out with him, and enjoys his company, knowing Chan keeps witnessing everything. A few days later, Chan secretly watches Mi-ran inside the library. Once again, she's studying with Mang. When Mang leaves to get a book, Chan immediately takes the empty seat beside Mi-ran. Mi-ran asks, "Couldn't you find any other seat?" Chan confidently replies, "This library belongs to everyone. I can sit wherever I want." Just then, Mang returns and says, "Actually, that's my seat." Chan quickly responds, "I was here first, so it's my seat." Mang smiles and says, "But you two already broke up." Chan immediately denies it. "What breakup? We just had a little misunderstanding." After hearing that, Mi-ran gets embarrassed and walks away, while Chan quickly follows behind her. The next day, Mi-ran's parents come to visit the college. During lunch, all of Mi-ran's friends are eating together with her parents, when Chan also joins them. He politely asks her parents, if Mi-ran ever falls in love, would you support her relationship? Her mother smiles and replies, "Of course, but she has never even had a boyfriend before. Why don't you help her find a good one?" Chan laughs and says, "Sure, I'll find her the best boyfriend." Just then, Jia suddenly appears and pulls Chan outside, saying she wants to talk to him. Chan gets annoyed and says, "Didn't I tell you to stay away from us? Why do you keep bothering me?" At that exact moment, Mi-ran and her friends walk outside. The moment Jia notices them, she intentionally hugs Chan. Seeing this makes Mi-ran extremely angry, but she silently walks away without saying anything. The truth is that Jia is doing all of this on purpose because she wants Chan and Mi-ran to break up for good. In the next scene, Chan comes up with a childish plan. He stands in front of the air conditioner for a long time, hoping he'll catch a cold so Mi-ran will worry about him. Unfortunately, he doesn't get sick. So the next day in class, he starts pretending to cough loudly. This time, it actually works because Mi-ran becomes genuinely worried. She sends Chan a message saying she wants to meet him. Chan immediately agrees. Miran asks him to come to the rooftop. When they meet there, Miran asks if he's feeling sick. Chan lies and says, "Yeah, I'm a little sick." Miran hands him some medicine and tells him to take care of himself. However, before leaving, she also says, "Please stop following me. I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore." After saying that, she walks away. Even so, Chan is actually very happy because he realizes that Miran still loves him. Otherwise, she would never have brought medicine for him. Meanwhile, Sue and Gawon get back together. They begin spending lots of time together and gradually fall in love once again. Later, Miran talks about Chan with her best friend. Her friend explains that Chan truly loves her and tells Miran not to leave him again over another misunderstanding. After hearing those words, Miran finally decides to fix everything between them. At the same time, Gawon officially confesses his feelings to Sue. Since Sue has already fallen in love with him, she happily accepts his confession. The two officially become a couple and celebrate with a sweet kiss. On the other hand, Miran calls Chan and asks if he can meet her. Chan happily replies, "Of course, just tell me where you are." However, just as Miran is about to tell him her location, she suddenly screams. The call immediately disconnects. Hearing that scream terrifies Chan. He starts worrying that something terrible has happened to Miran. At that very moment, several people run past him, saying that someone has become trapped at a nearby construction site. Without wasting a second, Chan rushes there. Convinced that Miran might be the one trapped inside, he desperately searches every corner of the construction site but can't find her anywhere. The longer he searches, the more terrified he becomes. Just then, Miran calls out to him from behind. The moment Chan sees her, he runs over and tightly hugs her. He says, "You scared me so much, I thought something had happened to you." Seeing how worried Chan was makes Miran realize just how deeply he truly loves her. She gently tells him, "Don't worry, I'm completely fine." After that, the two begin walking together. Chan then asks, "You wanted to meet me. What did you want to say?" Miran smiles and says, "Can we fix our relationship and get back together?" Chan teasingly replies, "And what's the point? A few days later, you'll leave me again without saying anything." Miran shakes her head and says, "Never again. I promise I'll never leave you anymore." Chan happily asks, "Really?" Miran smiles and nods. Then the two finally kiss, and all the misunderstandings between them come to an end. A few days later, Miran rejoins Chan's company. This time, she works harder than ever. Alongside their work, the two also enjoy plenty of sweet office romance. Soon, Miran comes up with a brand new business idea that everyone in the company loves. Although Chan's father initially refuses to approve the project, Chan eventually convinces him. From that day on, everyone works day and night to make the project successful. Fortunately, all of their hard work pays off, and the project becomes a huge success. Seeing this, everyone is overjoyed. Even Chan's father is impressed by the results. He finally accepts Miran as Chan's girlfriend. In the final scene, Chan and Miran return to the tree where Chan had buried the memory box years ago. After opening it, Chan discovers that Miran secretly wrote a reply to his old letter. Seeing her response makes him incredibly happy, and he realizes that Miran had visited this place before. The two place the box back into the ground together. Miran jokingly asks, "What if someone builds a house here one day? What will happen to our memory box?" Chan smiles and replies, "Don't worry. We'll build our own house here, and we'll spend the rest of our lives together." He then looks into her eyes and asks, "Will you stay with me forever?" Miran smiles warmly and answers, "Of course I will." She gently hugs Chan, and with this beautiful moment, the drama comes to a heartwarming ending. So let me know in the comments what you thought about this drama.